All right, guys. This is Marjorie. I'm going to be leading this session this week around QuickBooks Enterprise. We're going to be talking about contractor reports. So these are going to be the reports that are loaded in the contractor edition of QuickBooks Enterprise. I'm going to be showing it to you in the accounts edition and how we can access them there, but I just want to make sure that we are knowledgeable on what reports we have available to us. Because I think a lot of people just get scared to click on that button, as a recent employee told me. They just get scared to click on that button, and so we're going to click on those buttons today and see what we uncover. So, as always, if you missed anything, we do have our YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, there is a playlist. They have these things called playlists on YouTube, and you can see all of the videos from these sessions. And then we have tons of other videos up there too, just lots and lots of content videos. We've been doing YouTube since 2011, videos around QuickBooks. So we also have a QuickBooks Facebook group, Fourlane QuickBooks Enterprise Facebook group. Not a lot of activity happening in there, but it's there if you ever have questions, want to ask peers, other people using QuickBooks Enterprise. It is there for you. And we answer questions in there as well. So it's there. Always, we like to mention that we do have on-demand support. We get a lot of clients that complain they don't want to call Intuit ever again. Guess what? You don't have to. So we do have the support plans available that replace you having to call Intuit support. So calling Intuit support is like calling Microsoft support. What do? Usually you call your IT person. Let us be that person for you. All right, what are we going to talk about today? Contractor reports. We're going to spend most of the time inside of QuickBooks, as usual, and diving through these reports and what do they mean. We could stumble on some problems on reports. Not always. I don't think I stumbled on any when I was prepping for this, but can happen. And these are just a couple of reports we're going to look at. So let's dive in product here. So I'm just in a sample file. I'm in the sample file for, it is a contractor, sample contractor-based business, which you guys should have access to the sample files. So if you go to File, Close Company, and you have the sample company files available to you there on that screen that pops up. But what I'm going to be talking about today is usually when you're looking at these reports, you're going to have a drop-down. So I'm in the Accountants Edition because that's what we are over here at Fourlane, is a consultant to people in the QuickBooks industry. So I have the accountant drop down here, and I have some things under accountant. If you were in the contractor edition, you would have a contractor drop down. And then a lot of these reports are available in other areas. So where I'm going in the accountant edition is over here to the contractor report. You would see this as a drop down or as an option just in your report section here. A lot of these reports, again, are available in other areas of QuickBooks. So if I look at job cost by vendor by job, that would be possibly available in, under the jobs and mileage, which I don't see it here because it's somewhere else in there. But they could be available in other areas of QuickBooks as well. So open purchase orders by vendor, right? That is also open purchase orders, purchases of vendor, open purchase orders can filter by vendor. So anyway, could be available in other places. So sometimes they're duplicated. It's basically certified payroll. I know that one is also under employee. So there's an example of one, right? There we go. Finally found one that is a duplicate somewhere else. All right, so let's just dive through some of these reports. I'm going to start at the top, job status. This is one that's pretty fascinating. So if you are unaware, when you go into your customer center and you set up a customer, Heather Campbell, then you can set up a job, right? So right click, add job, up here, add job. So add a job. When you add a job, you get a new tab called Job Info. The Job Info has things like job description, job type list, which you can create your own options for this, job status, which you cannot create your own options for this, start date, projected end date, and actual end date. These fields aren't available on all reports. So if I were to go in and run like a sales by job detail, sales by customer detail, which is customers and jobs show up the same, some of these fields may or may not be available, right? Like start date is not available on there. So this report, job status report, is showing us all of our customers and jobs and those fields. So I have all the fields from the job tab. What is my job status? Okay. What is my job type? What is my description, start date, projected end date, and actual end date? If you come in here for filters and additional columns, customize and additional columns you can add. You can add balance, which is in here twice, 3 times balance total. So what I always do with this is I add all 3 and then I delete them if I don't need it. Notes on the job, which will be the pin note, company, first, last name, right? So fields from other tabs can also be added if we needed to. So if we need to add zip, state, right? You can add other things, sales rep, class, if they have a default class, estimate total, that's a field, that's a fascinating one, right? On filters over here, you can filter, right, by active status. So one of the best practices is always to go in and make jobs inactive if you are no longer working on them, right? So that way you could filter off all inactive jobs or just leave active jobs, all right? Some of the other filters in here, so again, you see balance multiple times. If you click on balance, though, it can be greater than, right? Greater than. So showing anything that has a balance greater than $10,000 as an example. So let's go down to job description, job status. You can filter off by job status. I could filter off and show me only jobs that are pending, right? Or we're waiting for awarded or maybe not awarded if we're going back to review why we lost a whole bunch of jobs. And I could save that report once I set up these filters. We have down here, we have the start date as a filter. So I could say, show me all jobs that were supposed to start last quarter, whatever it is, right? Last month. So some pretty cool filters on this report. Okay. So a lot of times what I'll see my customers, I wanted to show you the balance. I pushed cancel. Let me see the balances. So these two are showing the same information. So it's duplicated, and then sometimes it's different over here. So I don't know why it's different over here. I have to look at that one, why it's different on the third column in just this one here. Maybe, I know why, because it has a job under it. So it's the 12 plus the 9 equals the 22. Because this is construction 2 and it's showing a job under construction 2. So under that, it's a job under a job. And so that's showing the balance total for all sub-jobs, and this is just the balance for each. But again, I don't know why they have 2. And then the other one I wanted to show is the estimate total, right? Because that's also a pretty fascinating field. So it gives you the total estimates over there. So just interesting things that you can add, right, that you wouldn't think you can add somewhere else. So you can take this report, and what a lot of our clients will do is that they will come in here and they will put comments, maybe, if they use commented on report. You can do that, so you can build it into the system. But a lot of times what we'll see is we'll drop these into Excel, and I'll see people add columns like percentage of completion, notes, right, all sorts of things on jobs in, pending, as an example, that we're waiting for them to be approved. So anyway, pretty cool report. Job status report, you can use it in a lot of ways to talk internally. Next report that I want to show, if I come down in here, is I'm going to show so this one you can see job cost by vendor and job summary, by vendor and job detail. So look at those. These two underneath are just the flip. Job cost by job, then vendor, summary, and detail. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the summary report here. So you can see here, it is a true summary. So I have the job cost. I have a specific period of time. So I'm going to do for all time so I can just see more stuff, but it is for a specific period of time. And so what falls into here is you're seeing all job costs by vendor first. So Back City or Bay City Backhoe, we have costs for 3 jobs there. Beagle Heating and Air, we have job costs for 4 jobs there. And then I can dive in to see the details to see like what was actually billed on to that job. Okay. So there's a bill. Here's a bill and a check, right? That was going on there. The thing to recognize with the job cost, so I'm just going to go down to the bottom and double click on it. So you can see bills, you can see credit card charges, bills, credit card charges, bills, credit card charges. In this file, let's see if we don't have inventory parts show up on here. So you could potentially see an invoice on here, which you're going, well, why is an invoice showing up on here? And that's because the cost is showing up, right? But otherwise, checks, bills, credit card payments, credit card credits, vendor credits, right? So it could be a return that you'd see in here. Those are the type of transactions. And so now what I'm looking at here, when I double clicked on the total, is the job cost by vendor and job detail, which was the other report that was an option. So this is a way for us to be able to see how much in costs we're spending by vendor. Great way to use this tool is maybe we want to go and do some negotiating with our vendors, right? Like I have a couple window companies. I spent $20,000 with one. I spent $7,000 with another, and maybe I just want to consolidate those costs and move all the business under one. So I can go talk to Morgan Thaler Windows here and explain to them why we had to purchase an additional 10% of cost outside of their organization, and maybe they can fix it and help me out. Maybe it's a supply chain issue. Everybody hears that nowadays. Or maybe it is I just like the sales rep better issue. Maybe it is a pricing issue. You know, we can go in and talk to them, right? So data is just what we need to be able to make decisions and go have some negotiating power with them. Okay. Or also an alternative is maybe if we're looking at it, so you can show total by year. Pretty cool. And so if I do total by year, I can say, okay, I can also customize this and say percentage of row, right? So how much this year have I done versus last year type thing. But this is a great way too to be able to say, well, last year we spent, $7,500 with you. This year we spent $18,500 with you. Next year, on that trajectory, we're going to be spending $35,000 with you guys. So, it's time for us to start negotiating and giving us a different price level than what we had when we first came to you guys. Okay. All right, so that's by vendor, of course, and then we have a separate one that is just the opposite, which is showing first by job and then by vendor. So each job, right, which vendor are we working on for that particular job and what are the totals? So also you can see a breakdown of costs there. Okay, similar thing, just different bucketed items. Okay, I'm not going to go through that one as much since we looked at the other one. Job cost detail period is just job cost detail, right? Bills, paychecks, you would see inventory parts in here, same thing. So it is just the job cost detail for each job, not subtotal by anything except for by job. I'm not going to go into that because it's pretty straightforward. And I'm sure you guys, hopefully, if you guys are doing anything in the service-based industry, you've already looked at some of these reports before. That one's pretty standard, straightforward. Cost to complete job. So this is a big one. A lot of people haven't clicked on. So we come in here and we can see update the percentage complete for your items on a particular job. Okay, so there's 2 ways we can do this. We have cost to complete job summary and detail. All right, so on here I have my cost and each item. You can do this for just one job, or you can do it for all jobs. All right. So Heather Campbell, so this is something similar to what you would see on like an estimate, but it's not updating your estimate for you. So just make sure that that's clear. But here, Heather Campbell, new construction 2, I have some plans and some flooring, so I can come in and say 50%, 75% on this line, and then when I go ahead and say okay, let me get to that one. Here we go. So what it's showing me my estimated costs. I have my percentage complete. There's that 50 and 75 that I just put in there. Now this is one of those ones, we have done a video on this before, so I guess I knew that the 60% down below, right, the math isn't quite right on percentage complete as a whole when the totals are off, basically. So actual costs would be showing up in here. So let me go down to Heather Campbell, new job 1, so that we have some actual costs in there. Let me do it for that report again. Now notice that I have to, in order to edit it, I have to rerun the report, edit that screen. So come in, contractor reports, cost to complete by job summary, and I scroll down. Now notice the 50 and 75% are held there, right? So it remembers what I did before, but I want to look at this one, so I'll do the same thing, 50 and 75% on the next line and say okay. And minimize this one. You can also expand and collapse rows up top, right? So they have that. So here is job 1. Okay, so we had the 50 and 75%. So on this one, we have $2,500 cost, 50% per complete, actual cost 0. So the cost to complete is going to be 50% on 1250 is what they think. So we're under on our estimated costs. That math also doesn't really work right when you have 0 in there very well. So on this one, well, it works fine, right? But it kind of it throws us off a little bit. So we estimated it was going to be 2,500. We had 0 costs. 50% is already complete. So 50% of 2,500 is 1,250. Now coming down here to the 15,000 line, we're saying we have 15,000 estimated costs, 75% complete, 15,000 actual cost. So the cost to complete is taking 25% of 15,000, which is 3,750. These two, the actual plus the cost to complete, is 1,875. So we're going to be over budget by 3,750. Okay, on this line. So hopefully that math makes sense. 15,000 times 100 minus 75, which is 25%, gets us this number. These two added together gets us this number. This number is the difference between the 15,000 and 18,000. Okay. Now, coming here on the side, so if I take 3,750, let me do a quick Excel spreadsheet here. So it's always good to test out the totals. And I'm showing you this because there's another video again that we talk about the committed cost by job report, and the totals don't always add up on that one. So if I take negative 1,250, I take 800, I take 3,750, and I do a total, we get 3,300. So that total is correct. Okay, this total 20,800 is correct. I'm just looking at visually. This total 5,000 is correct. Looking visually, correct. Okay, so just the 71% here is incorrect. So what it does on some reports is it'll take this 71% as an example, and it will do the math based off of that. And that's not always the case, right? So anyway, be aware. Be aware of subtotals. Sometimes they struggle. This report has been around for a very long time, though, which is why I would expect it to be correct. Newer reports can have some issues in adding up. Okay, so coming forward, Let's look at another. We have our unpaid bills by job. And so this one is the same thing, unpaid bills by job and unpaid bills by vendor. So similar thing, just one is subtotaling by vendor. So we're going to go ahead, unpaid job bills by vendor. Whoops, I just ran the wrong report there. Let me do that again. So let's just go ahead and run the more detailed one. So I have the vendor first, and here's the bill and which customer it's for. So this is all of the different bills that are unpaid. Now, a lot of times why people will run this report is that they will not pay out their contractors, as an example, until they get paid from the customer. And so they'll run this report and they will see, based on, usually it's not this one by vendor, it's usually that we will run the other one, which is unpaid bills by job. And so they'll go in and see, okay, has this customer paid us? So has new construction made a payment to us yet? And if the answer is yes, then I will go cut the checks for this job. Okay. So cash flow, a little bit of cash flow on jobs using these reports. All right. Going back in there, we have our expenses not assigned to jobs. So this is a great report to use if we are expecting, so similar to if we run a profit and loss by class, right? And we have our unclassified, so anything that doesn't have a class, showing us the outliers. This is the same thing. So it's for a specific time period. So what a lot of our clients will do in this industry is they will come in and they will run this for last month at the end of the month. This will be part of their month-end close process. Come in for last month, and they will look through and make sure if any of these should be assigned to jobs, they'll go assign it to the job. And so how do we do this? Acme Fast Fuel, it was cash payment. Okay, this should have gone to, new construction job 1. It is not billable. Say save and close. Now it comes off of my report. Okay, so if we expect all expenses to be assigned to jobs for the most part, then this is a good way to go in and make sure that that happens. Okay. So that is a great report. Other times that I've seen people use this, not in the construction industry, is if we are assigning customers in a different way. So like in the nonprofit industry, I've seen people use this report before because they use their client list to assign that, not for donors specifically or anything like that, but they actually use the client list in a different way because their donors, they track in an outside system. So they'll use it for grant tracking or something like that. And so all costs need to be assigned to a grant. And that's how they make sure that it happens, is by running this report. So not just related to contractor reports, are not just related to contractors. Job costing is not just a service-based industry thing. Job costing should be used in every single company if possible. You can get creative, right? But it's basically a way to budget. It's just a way to budget. It's just results reporting in different buckets. Okay, so we have billed, unbilled hours by person. So of course, if we are going in there, so by person and job, and by person and activity. I'm going to do person and activity so you can see this. So we have Mitchell Clark has this many billed hours, this many unbilled hours, this many non-billable hours for this time period by task, right? So this is by service item. Okay. So on this, if I go into the 32, I dive down, I can dive down further and pull up the actual time card itself. Okay, so it's why it's showing up as not billed is because it has not gone onto an invoice yet. We would see that little stamp that looks like an invoice. It has a customer job on it. If it was unchecked as billable, then it would show up in the other column, right? It should show up in the non-billable column. Oh, there, right there. Okay, I was like, where did it go? Oh my gosh. So in the non-billable column. Okay, and then if it were billed, so let me look at this job real quick and I'll show you. So this is Albert Cruz, new construction. I'm going to mark it off. So Albert Cruz, new construction, save and close. Now if I go into create an invoice, Albert Cruz, new construction, I have outstanding time and costs. So I go into my time, and I can't remember now, Mitchell. So I'll do some of these and say, okay, save and close. Now when I go in and look at this report, right, I have some that has been billed. Okay. So unbilled hours and billed hours by person activity. This is a great way to look at. So if we have an expected billable percentage for someone, so if we're doing some kind of employee review, we can say, okay, look, you had 176 billable hours. You had, so many non-billable hours, and we expect the ratio to be different than that. You can have that conversation. That is one way that I've seen this. Also, breakdowns by what they're doing. So let's say we pay them more to do ceiling work than mill work. For, if those are different pay items, so we can go in and look at and say like, okay, well, if you want to make more money, Clark, then we need to get you on more jobs that have mill work, or more jobs that have ceilings. Whatever one I said was more expensive. Okay. So it's good to have employee-related discussions on performance review discussions with them. Okay. If they are allowed to pick, right, which work orders they do, as an example, so maybe more in like a HVAC type industry or something, they're allowed to pick which work orders they do. This is a great way too to say, you know what, Clark, I know that doing floor coverings is fun, but I really need you to help me out with some ceilings and cover more. So next time, instead of it being 25% and 75%, I'd rather it be more 50-50. So please make sure when you're picking work orders that you also pick this kind of work order. It's great for employee discussions. Okay. Coming in, the next one that we have is the open purchase orders by vendor. Okay, summary and detail. So in the open purchase orders by vendor here, we can see we've got Brenda's Farming. Here's one purchase order open. The date, the expected delivery date. So when we look at this on the purchase order itself, this purchase order actually doesn't have an expected delivery date. So if you don't see one, you can come into Customize Data Layout and add the due date or the expected date on here, right? Due date is when is it due by? A lot of times people use this field because they want to say, like, if you do not ship it by this due date, then don't ship it at all. And then the expected delivery date is what you're seeing on that report. Okay, so if you don't see them there, you have to customize the field. Otherwise, it just the delivery date default fills into the actual PO date, which is not super helpful all the time. But open purchase orders by vendor, so you can plan when are we expecting to get some of these shipments in. Maybe we don't have a warehouse person working full time. They only have to come in when we expect to have these things come in. Okay. So open purchase order by vendor. A lot of times we have on, clients ask us a lot of times to have summary reports, right? So they want to see the invoice in one line with the total, the balances and everything without it being the details. They just want to see one line. And so this is a way to see purchase orders on one line. Now you can come in here too and add additional fields. Right, so I think, no, not total balance, open balance, there we go. Right, so I can add that field on here. You can add additional things to this, that can be helpful. But I know a lot of people ask for that. They want to see one line for purchase order Okay, so here it is. All right. Some of the other reports, we're at time right now, so let me just run through real quick. Certified payroll, vendor account information, customer account information. So certified payroll, I'm not going to talk about because I'm not a payroll person, in case you haven't learned that in any of my other demo or in my webinars. Vendor account and customer account information are just list reports. Okay, so not really exciting. But hopefully you took away some things today, some little nuggets about reports in the contractor industry and how you can possibly use them in your industry. Let me hop back into my slideshow here. I am looking for what do you want to see in future courses. So if you can please take a second, I'm going to leave this up before I say goodbye, and just ping in anything that you want to learn. Anything that is scenario-driven things are great, right? So as an example, what I just talked about, we do employee performance reviews. Which reports would be best for us to use inside QuickBooks for employee performance reviews? Maybe that's a topic you want to know. We create comp structure. We have a commission structure. What are some different commission structures that you've seen before? I don't know what. That's why I'm asking you guys for some creative ideas. So if you guys have anything, I'm just going to go ahead and be quiet here. If you have any other questions too, we'll get back to you after the webinar because this took a lot of time today. But again, hopefully you were able to pull some nuggets, something you can apply in your daily life. Thanks, everybody.